Let's see. Welcome. Let's see if I can get this straight. I started off, it was easy as anything. And then boom, 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 I'm starting to build a grill. Starting to build a grill and a girl. The girl's on the grill, but she's actually cooking an egg. And I'm going to show you why. A, first letter. E, 15th letter. 1 plus 5, 6. 1 times 5, 5 gives you E and F. On the telephone, E, F, G come together. 6 is the last letter, okay, of 1 to 6. Because in the Greek language, and I think in the Hebrews, they put 6 on a row. But that 6th one is actually also, okay, actually I think in the Hebrews, they only put 5. But in the Greeks, they put 6 because now they're connecting the first world to the second world by EFG, in which in Hebrew, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, and then the next one is 6 is Vav. So the two worlds work differently, so therefore I'm going to have problems if I start mixing up both worlds together. I'm going to confuse you, not only confuse myself and have to start all over again. But this is what it is. AE. 1 and 5 together is the 15th letter. The 15th letter is the O. Now between A and E is a C. CO. But because A to C is 2 and E to C is 2, you use the C twice, and you also use it because 15 goes with this one as well as this one. Because if you reverse it around to 51, it becomes the same thing. Anyways, 51 reversed around is the 6-6 world. What we're missing is the creation. So you end up with cocoa. It's an egg. In the 7th row, you end up with the G. Because 5 and 6 come together with the G, these two letters in French say girl. So therefore, I switch it around to girl and mix it with a little French, add the G, and now we got a grill. Man's on a grill. The other reason, E comes before F, the next vowel. Then there's G, it's the 7th gate. Then there's H, starts with an A. Then there's I, and there's J that starts with an A because it's the 10th letter. 1 plus 0 is 1, and that's the first letter A. Then J, and then there's K. And K and A is after the K, okay, because K is the 11th letter, which is actually the B letter. And the second part, the A, is after B, because B is taking charge of A in this world. That's why the A has no letters and usually has an exclamation point. Not only that, if you think about number 1 on the phone with no letters and anything else, you know what you can also put there? Or maybe before it? But the only thing you can put before 2 on the phone is 1. But what can you put before A? Well, there's a Y, there's a Z, there's an N, but one that will connect to any single letter. Of all letters, when you put this letter, it's the letter O. So when you take the phone and you go to the first number where there is nothing, just put the O there. But now it looks like 10, and we're on the second level. What's on the second level? 10 from 1 to 9. What's on the second level? 2 from 19 to, first level. Second level, okay, is 20 from 1 to 9. 30 from 1 to 9. Whoops, let's stop. It's not 30 from 1 to 9.99, because when we get to 30, this is where pi begins. Now there's definitely, I'm not sure exactly what they're looking for as in pi to, they say there's no rhythm in it. But I'm going to do this next. I think I found the way to find the rhythm in it. Because in pi, you can't go past 4 because that would be in the 4th dimension of the world. You have to stay in 3. And at 39, you are 3, 3, and 3 world and the perfect 10. So if we're coming out to gauge pi by a perfect 10, we have to find out all the rules about 7 and 9 and what's in between the two. Don't forget, heaven is actually, okay, the beta, the creation of beta, okay, it's empty space. It's an empty goddamn space. The only thing in this empty space is us. And pi is a hard time to figure out because the actual center of everything, of this total pi they're trying to create, has to include the core of the earth, because that's the center of pi, taking up space. And since the molten lava is consistently changing, therefore pi is consistently changing, but there is a number for it. There's definitely a number. Man is born, he goes into 8, but he's got to go through 5, into the 7th gate, and from the 7th gate, he's got to go to the next 7th gate. But on the way there, he finds heaven. 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. 2, 4, 6, 8 is pi. Pi of what? Of omega. It's just a circle. 2, 4. Beta world is 2 and 2 and 2. And creation world is 3 and 3 and 3. And then the 10, 10, 10, 10 world is just a combination of all these worlds together. 7 and 3, 4 and 6, 2 and 8. Do you know why 2, 8, 2 comes together? Because when you take a form that's in the 8th position, and it's rolling by this, okay? And we take the form, the top of this is the 8. The minute we turn it down to here, this here is still the 2. This is the 2 right here. And even when you flip it down, this is still the 2. This was the 8 up here, the 2 over here, and the 5 below. That's what makes the 7th gate. You ever see the 7th gate? It's like an X, and it opens up, and the X's come back together. It crosses the X. 7th gate lets you in, and then it shuts the door. The baby's inside the mother when the gates are shut. And then the 7th gate opens out. And out comes the bumbling Baloo that looks a little bit like me, but it could be you. Anyways, there's another thing with that when you put 1 and 5 together, you end up with 150. 2 times of this is 300 in bowling. Okay, you get 10 frames, but in the 10th frame, you get 2 extra shots to cover up for your strike. One of them is the spirit on this side. The other one has to be the spirit on this side. And the spirit on that side is 1, 4. This is pi, my friends, okay? It's all about the birth egg, okay? 1, 4, 1, 5. Why 1, 4? Because 2, 4, 6, 8. The 4 angles of the 1 spirit is beta, and the 1 angle of the 5 spirit is alpha. It means the God and the other God. But when it comes to the 1 spirit of 9, we are that 1 spirit. We're that egg. We're 0, 1. We're 10 automatically. And then we get that 1 for our spirit birth, for the connection of our brain, and then we're in this world. So now let's do it over again. We now have 1 and 5 makes 6. We have the A, and in between the 2 is C. What does it spell? F-A-C-E. Face. At the same time, it spells cafe. F-A-C-E. Face and cafe are the same word. Now, there's a lot more you can do here. I have C-A-O-E, right? But I just told you that the letters that connect are the N, canoe. It means a canoe. The N, turn it sideways, it's a Z. Don't write the 5 properly, it's an S. Draw the S squarely, it's now a 5 or a Z or an N again. Now, if you want to talk about the rib that Eve is missing, well, the rib that Eve was missing is all a question of whether or not you're with X or with O, because there's a broken rib over here. Gives a rib over to Eve, which is the night, because man is the night. Okay? He gives the extra rib to Eve, and now he can stand on both legs. You have an Aleph letter. And here's the Y. And of course, Eve, right? When you put 2 of any letter together and you want to connect them, the easiest way to connect both sides is with the top here. And then the continuation would catch here, but it's on its way this way. So I'm not turning the E around. Anyways, we're going to let it go at that. Right now, somehow, you want to believe this? Somehow, all my calculations say we're between Jupiter and Earth. 2 letters, 2 initials that say I am God, which is J and E. It says I have. So, but the whole thing is we can't be in the space of something else. We have to be in the space of nothing else. So my biggest possibility is that, now this is really crazy what I'm going to say because it's probably not true, that we are on one of the moons of Jupiter closest towards Saturn, or we're on one of the moons of Saturn. And this whole thing that we're actually seeing are shutters opening and closing up of the sky, and you see what you see and you don't what you don't. The hand is quicker than the eye, and so is the shutter. So we have to be on a planet called 0.5 because everything's in between. Whatever I'm going to do, there's so many, everything's in between. And one of the greatest things is 35, okay, which is Earth and Jupiter. Reverse it is 53, is also 88. And the only missing thing for spirit is 3, and that's Earth again. But I can't see it that way. We have to be 1 plus. We can't be below. We can't. I don't think we can be on Earth next to Mercury, and because it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'd see myself being on Neptune in between Pluto and the seventh gate. I mean, it's less of a travel. I mean, creation came up from upstairs from Earth. Everything came from Earth. But this is, I don't think this is the Earth we actually live on. No way, no doubt in my mind. We are in between 6 and 5, which would be 5.5, and then we're between 8 and 5 and 6, and somewhere over there. Even between that side or the other side, or we're just between 5 and 8. And just call us 5.5, 5 and 8. It would be 6.5. And 6.5 or 65 is also 7, which is the seventh gate again. S-E-V-E-N is 65. Not only that, 56 or 65 is the Wolf Communications. 5 by 6 is 30. 5 plus 6 is 11 equals 41, the Mediterranean, and the beginning of 3.14 pi. And in Sesame Street, it's 4114. Let's take a walk. 1 for you, 1 for me, 1 for 1. We each got 1. It was all fair. Fair for you, fair for me. That F letter seems to be a little bit fair or false. The directive of the F. Start studying the F, then you'll see the actual directive. So anyways, we did this, we did that. Now, the other thing I want to put together is that what happens is this stupid letter here is a number. It's 1. But it can also be confused next to the O, underneath it as an I. 5 can be introduced as a S, and then we have the regular E and A. And with these letters, it says wazo, and that's a bird. Don't think this is just 15. It could be Interstate 5, or it just is. And is just like it is it, like IT. IT is the beta world from 1 to 9. It is the 9th one. It is the birth that happens in the beta world from 2 to 8. It happens in the heaven. How come there's no heaven? The middle is 5. Because there's something there. Jupiter's there. Unless we're on Jupiter somewhere, I still don't think there's not a possibility, because when you create a hockey stick, okay, from number 7, that 7 goes right into number 3. The 1 goes into the 9. And now we got 2 elevators, one going up and one going down. Did you follow me? If anybody knows the old Montreal Forum, those 2 elevators in the front, same difference. When you got to the top, maybe the elevator just stopped there, but the floor went this way. Just like on the bottom, it started going up this way, but the floor started this way. We're going to leave it at that for now. I'm going to try and jump onto pi and try and explain what their people are actually. First of all, I don't know what they're actually looking for. So for me to see what they're missing, one of the ways to do pi is to bring everything to a 1010. Another way to do pi is to calculate everything to a 7 world, 777, because there are 3 worlds, and it is the 3rd world of creation. If you were on 4 of any kind of pi, you'd be on the 2nd level. All you have to do is cut that in half. Always try to work from the 1st level, and even then, cut your levels in half. Instead of using pi 3 point whatever, multiply everything by 1.5, except for the 3. Divide that by 1.5. Just to play with the differences, but that's not what I'm going to do. All I'm going to do is find something that follows. I see numbers different. For me, when I see 3 and 8 and 9 and 2 next to each other, they're just not 3, 8, 9, and 2. There's a whole story. But I'm going to have to bring the roulette table into this and find out which ones are red and black and which ones can touch. Now there's 36 numbers on the roulette table. That means if I really want to do this fully, I will have to go 144 numbers deep to find it, because that is the complete cycle. 1, 2, 3, 4. We put the 5 in the middle. The 5 is for the left. The 5 is for the right. You got a left arm. You got a right arm. And then you continue on. One of my favorite colors ever since I started believing in God is this color right here. This in black. Almost like Halloween. Raphael 7286. Can't believe I kept this under 15 minutes. I really appreciate it. Be well, my friends. Now it's time to roll up a joint and get into some real hot stuff, because today I found a lot. I just figured something out. When I first started 7 years ago, I came up with a language just for numbers. I do not remember all the numbers, but the first one was Bo Ti Lo San. And today, what do they mean? First of all, if number 2 is first and it is B, and number 1 has no letters, So that would be omega, because you're starting at 2, so you had to end at God omega. So it would be B, O. And then you'd have monopoly, B and O, and now you have the start. So maybe we are starting on B and O, because the first 5 rows from B and O, and you're right to jail. Don't forget, 5, 5, 5 is it. 5 brings you 2 levels, A and B, and C and D. That's it. So where is it? It's in between. It's the 0.5. So right away, when you go in between for the 0.5, the 5th letter is E, and that's where we were supposed to be to start with. Raphael, 7286. It all depends from where you begin. Whether there is a God or no God, whether somebody came here to create us or not, according to the way the books and the movies have went, even if God was to come, the evildoer must come too. They must put man through all the ropes before the final day that the good old Lord shows his face, and we still won't believe him anyways. Raphael 72:86.